if I told you that in a world where songs explode overnight and vanish just as quickly, one voice stayed at the very top, not for a week, not for a season, but for 280 consecutive days. No viral gimmick, no controversy, no desperate reinvention, just a song quietly living in people's hearts. Because in Singapore, while playlists refreshed and new releases fought for attention, something extraordinary was unfolding. Beloved worldwide, as Jin of BTS held the #1 position on Spotify Singapore's daily chart for 280 straight days. Not climbing, not returning, not reclaiming, remaining. And in today's music landscape, remaining is the rarest achievement of all, a song that arrived and never left. When Jin released his second mini-album Echo on May 16th last year, the title track, Don't Say You Love Me, immediately captured listeners' attention. But what happened next surprised even industry watchers. The song debuted at #1 on Spotify Singapore's daily chart and stayed there, day after day, week after week, month after month. As of February 19th, the track was still pulling in over 105,000 daily streams, pushing its cumulative total in Singapore past 43.5 million streams. Think about that. In a country flooded with global hits and regional favorites, listeners kept pressing play on the same voice. Dominance beyond the daily chart. Daily success can be fleeting. Weekly dominance proves loyalty. And Jin had both. Don't Say You Love Me ruled the Spotify Singapore weekly chart for 40 consecutive weeks, demonstrating consistency rarely seen in the streaming era. This wasn't casual listening. This was emotional attachment. It became the song people returned to after long days, the melody that filled silent rooms, the voice that accompanied solitary train rides home. The numbers confirmed what hearts already knew. When Spotify released its year-end rankings, Jin's impact became undeniable. #1 top songs of 2025, Singapore. #2 top albums of 2025, Singapore, Echo. He dominated both streaming and album performance charts, a rare dual achievement that signals not just popularity, but devotion. Listeners weren't just streaming one song, they were staying for the artist. Why this song feels different: there are powerful vocals, there are emotional ballads, and then there is Jin's delivery, restrained, delicate, and profoundly human. He doesn't overwhelm the listener, he invites them in. There's a fragility in his tone, a quiet ache in the phrasing, a sincerity that feels almost private. It sounds less like a performance and more like a confession, and perhaps that's why it lingers. Because it doesn't demand attention, it earns it. A resonance that crosses borders. While the song was becoming a cultural staple in Singapore, its reach expanded across the globe. On May 25th, Jin made history by topping the Spotify global chart with Don't Say You Love Me, becoming the first Asian artist to reach #1 globally with a song released in 2025. The track went on to surpass 800 million streams, earning the distinction of the most streamed K-pop song on Spotify in 2025. At the same time, Jin's personal Spotify following surpassed 10 million, reflecting a growing global audience drawn to his solo artistry. This wasn't a regional success story. It was a global emotional connection. The quiet power of staying glum. In an industry built on momentum, noise, and constant visibility, Jin's achievement feels almost paradoxical. Because this wasn't powered by non-stop promotions, not driven by viral dance challenges, not fueled by shock value. It was sustained by something far more powerful: emotional resonance. The kind that makes someone replay a song at midnight. The kind that comforts without asking questions. The kind that feels like being understood without speaking. And when music reaches that space in someone's life, it stops being entertainment. It becomes companionship. More than a chart record. 280 days at #1 is not just a statistic. It represents mornings begun with a familiar melody, evenings softened by a gentle voice, moments of loneliness made less heavy. It represents thousands of quiet stories happening at once. Different lives, different struggles, different dreams, connected by the same song. And maybe that's the true meaning behind this achievement. Not dominance, not records, but presence. Because while trends fade and attention shifts and the world keeps scrolling forward, some voices remain. Soft, steady, unforgettable. So the real question isn't how long Jin stayed at #1. The real question is, why? In a world full of noise, do people keep returning to his silence between the notes? And maybe that answer is something you don't just hear. It's something you feel.